What's going on, moms and dads? My name is Dr. John Caruso. I am a neurologically focused pediatric prenatal family wellness chiropractor here in Katy, Texas. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the vagus nerve and ADHD. So when we're talking about ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, those rates have absolutely reached unprecedented levels, and with more and more children getting diagnosed every single year, because right now nearly 10% of all of the school age kids in the US live under this label's restrictions. And so parents, if you have a bright, creative child who struggles to focus or sit still, maybe they fidget constantly or have frequent emotional meltdowns, as a parent, your absolute mom and dad heart breaks when you see them struggling in school or have a hard time making friends. And likely you've tried various behavioral programs, elimination diets, supplements, maybe even stimulant type medications, hoping that something works. But if lasting relief remains elusive for your kiddo, there's an overlooked root cause that might be to blame, and that's an impaired vagus nerve. So share this video, moms and dads, with other parents and other moms and other people who need to hear this story. So most parents of kids who struggle with ADHD, especially if it's on the hyperactive or the impulsive side, these kids live in fight or flight themselves. And then they're worried about how their kids will interact in situations where they may need to sit still or be calm or take a test, even focus. So let's dive into the vagus nerve connection to ADHD. So over 75% all of the nerve fibers that are carrying sensory signals for our organ functions travel along vagal pathways. This means that the vagus nerve controls a lot of our digestion and organ function and a lot of things of the parts and systems and functions of our bodies that we cannot consciously control. And so this makes our vagus nerve disproportionately influential in coordinating multiple body processes that are critical for health and also critical for overall well-being. And so when our vagus nerve is not functioning properly, symptoms like insomnia and headaches, fatigue, anxiety, gut issues, and poor focus occur. And so our vagus nerve is that critical messenger that's carrying signals between our brain and the organs that then regulate our heart rate, our breathing, digestion, inflammation, both within our whole bodies as well as inflammation within the gut, sensory processing, and then also our entire parasympathetic relaxation system. And so when this vagal highway or superhighway develops in a dysfunctional way from early trauma, chronic stress, or poor nervous system communication, these children will then display the hallmarks, I should say, of ADHD. And so research now clearly ties vagus nerve impairment to attention, focus challenges, hyperactivity, sleep and digestive disorders, as well as emotional dysregulation and quite a bit more. And if you have exhausted those typical treatment options without the results that you're looking for, or you really want to avoid the medication side, really, the effects and medications altogether, then specialized testing and natural support and stimulation for our vagus nerve then provides new hope for families who want to put drugs and medications as an absolute last resort. So the science behind vagus nerve dysfunction, and this is where I want to get mega nerdy because I'm a big nerd and it's a whole lot of fun for me, and usually parents sometimes love it, but we want to dig into the science behind our vagus nerve. And I promise that I'll make this super applicable, but it's just fascinating when you're able to map out developmentally how many connections there are with our vagus nerve. And so our intricate neuromuscular tissues, so like our muscles and the nerves that go to supply them to turn them on, and those pathways surrounding our vagus nerve are extremely sensitive both to the physical tension and then the chemical inflammation. And so in physical trauma, like in birth or in infections like pandis or COVID, poor diet, and toxin exposure, they all cause what we call subluxation or stress stuck onto our nervous system along these vagus nerve pathways. And then this leads to impaired signaling capacity and overall neurological balance. And so when we start diving into the birth trauma connection, because this is something that most people are not being told by their OBs, pediatricians, other providers, but common birth interventions, including vacuums, forceps, and cesareans, place absolutely enormous physical strain on our vagus nerve and surrounding tissues within our upper neck. And so spinal tension within our muscles, within the ligaments, within the bones, these misalignments and subluxation frequently occur in this delicate brainstem and upper neck area. And this is interfering with the communication between our brain, the vagus nerve, and then the absolute rest of the body. And then from a developmental side of it, or the growth stress connection, when we have this stress stuck onto our nervous system, this then leads to alterations in our gross motor development, sensory modulation, and overall development, and can also fuel chronic gut issues like food sensitivities, sickness, and heightened inflammation. And this is all disturbing vagal tone further as these conditions persist and become repetitive. And as our children grow, regular childhood injuries, poor posture from our devices, dental or cranial restrictions can also place stress onto our vagus nerve. And medications like antibiotics can also alter and inhibit key nerve signaling capacity over time by disrupting our biome and our brain-gut connection. So let's dive into long-term stress and suppression of our vagus nerve, because this is a super hot topic as we exit out of COVID. And so when we start thinking about this, it's the gradual onset of this rest and digest system that stays suppressed and underactive. So symptoms like headaches and anxiety, poor stamina, intestinal discomfort, sleeplessness, and heart palpitations will increase when this parasympathetic side is not turning on the way that it's supposed to. Our attention span, the impulse control, and emotional regulation then falter, and these are all those hallmark struggles of ADHD. So the question is like, how the heck do we help vagus nerve dysfunction? And so like every kiddo that comes into our office, regardless of ADD, ADHD, autism, seizures, pregnancy, all of these pieces, we tailor the protocols unique to every individual's needs and then work to strengthen and stimulate the brain and nervous system, and in this case, the vagus nerve, primarily to restore that nervous system balance as gently as possible. Because we know it's hard for most kids to sit still for an assessment or behave a long time in an office. And, you know, with most kids in my office, jumping off of tables during an adjustment, it's absolutely okay. Because our office is pediatric focused and all of our systems are set up to be able to make these steps as easy as possible for you and for them. And so the steps to find out the root cause of ADHD we're addressing our vagus nerve. So what we end up doing is that first step involves gathering a detailed and personalized case history for every patient and every kid. Because then we're able to determine the current function of our vagus nerve as well as the autonomic nervous system by using our insight scans, which then enables the direct measurement of a child's stress stuck on patterns or subluxation pattern and dysautonomia. This step is considered absolutely essential because it allows the identification and tracking of the foundational root causes of ADHD. I want to show you guys an example of what that looks like. So I'm going to switch over, go to my iPad view. We're going to take some notes and look into some scans and bring to light some of the excess stress and stuck on tension with some of these kids. So here's an example of what we find in a piece of our scanning technology that, you know, when we start looking at the vagus nerve and ADHD, where it clearly shows why it's so hard for some of these kiddos to be able to sit still, stay focused, and engaged. And so whenever we do these tests, kids are at rest. And so what you're seeing here is that there is an excess of neuromuscular energy within the nervous system, primarily on that left-hand side where you're seeing all of those big red bars on this scan. And so this extra energy that our brain is picking up from our bodies, it's telling the cerebellum and the central processing system that she should move fast and keep a busy brain, as that movement and attention span, or a lot of times lack thereof, matches the input that the brain is receiving. And so we take these scans along with two others, plus our clinical history from these cases, and then be able to create a customized care plan that maps out exactly how long, how frequent, how often we should be able to start with care within our office. And then we then utilize more of a precise neurologically focused adjustments to be able to address subluxation, stress stuck onto the nervous system, to be able to release these stuck patterns of that fight or flight tension, turn on or activate our vagus nerve, and then improve communication between the brain and the rest of the body. And so, with most kids, with most patients, I should say for that matter, the first response is that when these kiddos start getting adjusted within the office, within this specialized form of chiropractic care, the biggest things that we'll see are more so better sleep, more calm, and then improved sensory integration. The big thing that I want to go over here with these scans primarily is you're seeing a whole lot of extra tone and tension within this left-hand side, or the right-hand side, I should say, but then you're also seeing periods of where things are more less active on the opposite side. So typically what I'll see with this is that bigger imbalance comparatively from side to side is altering overall balance within the neurological system, meaning there's not symmetrical information that's flooding up into the brain appropriately. And so this is a comparative scan of what I did with a patient suffering with some ADD, ADHD, anxiety type stuff. And when we did the secondary scan, what you're seeing is that significant tension within the upper neck as well as in the upper back. And all of the coloration down and through here is significantly cleared out. One of the big things that you're seeing there, which is really, really interesting, is that you're seeing more of a exhaustion or a shutdown within this middle right here. And so typically what ends up happening with that is when our bodies will pull away activity from certain areas, it actually will prioritize other systems and spots within our body. So this main T4, T6 area is actually more of a postural piece, and this area is a big part of our major digestive centers. So it's a really cool way to be able to address a couple of different pieces and see how our vagus nerve is really impacting things. So if we remember, vagus nerve up top goes to our heart, lungs, and our digestive tract. And so if our bodies are pulling away and prioritizing other systems, it's the way that our bodies will heal along the way. So like we talked about a moment ago, the vast majority of these kiddos, parents will notice an immediate impact on sleep. And so a lot of these kiddos will go from not necessarily being able to go to sleep before 9, 10, 11 o'clock to then falling asleep while you guys are doing the bedtime routine or reading a story. And then instead of like waking up at 4, 5, 6 a.m. to get ready for school, a lot of times parents will have to end up waking them up, which is somewhat of a good thing, but also like I get the logistics struggle when you're trying to leave the house. And so the other big thing that I'll see is that with these cases, you end up, and what I hear from parents all the time is that there's fewer emails and notes home from school about bad behavior and focus and disruption. And, as we start moving through with care, the teachers, their therapists, the providers are absolutely in awe of the changes that these kiddos and the progress that they're making without medication. How stinking cool is that? And so if you're ready to address that root cause of your child's neurological challenges head on, we would love to be able to help, because there are safer, more natural options that exist to be able to address vagus nerve dysfunction and improve that overall neurological connection and function. So first, please ask us any questions that you have, leave us a comment below, or even send us a DM. And then go ahead and share this with any other parents or family members or Facebook groups who absolutely need to hear this message. We're always available to help. Shoot us a DM, send us a comment, We're always here for you.